I'm Bob Grant, and today we're going to do a few questions. First name only, please. Inez says, the man I'm dating since 8 months never told me these words. Even if he says often he wants to build his life with me and other beautiful things. 1 month before, he told me he knows how marriage is important to me and that it will come. Inez, I don't know if we've done this, but I'm going to do this again anyway. He told me that he has some fears around marriage, that he is working on it, and that it will take a bit of time and it will come. He repeated to me that he sees me as the mother of his children and wants to build the rest of his life with me. I know he feels these words, but I'm curious why he never said I love you. I also haven't said those words to him, even if I feel it. What do I think? So I hear the gestures he's making. I want you to be a mother of my children, build the rest of my life for you. And those things sound really great, but they're not an offer. And I think that's your hesitation. The one I use a lot is, someone loves my house. They say it's gorgeous, it's beautiful, my house is for sale. I say, well, I'm waiting for them to make an offer, but they don't make an offer. They just tell me how great they're going to live in my house the rest of their life. They're going to renovate these things. They're going to transform the yard, which is great. Still waiting on the offer. See, because for a woman, if you don't have an offer, you're not going to know what to do. It's going to be confusing. So I don't know as far as his fears. Obviously, there's some fear holding him back. And I don't doubt that he likes the concept of being married, but I think there's probably a fear that goes with this of, depending on what happened to him, of once you're married, if someone decides to be really horrible, they can. It's hard to get away from them. I think it's something like that. So I don't know if press in's the right word, but ask with him more specifically, what's the fear? Because if he's talking like this, being the mother of your children, building the rest of his life with you, if he's willing to talk like that, that's a fair thing to ask, what's the fear about moving forward? Because usually if a man sees you as a mother of his children, what's the point of waiting? I mean, what's the point? If that's for men, if I know that, why wait? Unless there's a fear involved. So that's why I would follow up with it. Barbara said, over the years, I've read a few of your books. Thank you very much. They have great content, and when put to the test, your ideas work. Thank you. Then it's almost like anything else. Old patterns are learned behavior, which is hard to change. How do you stop yourself from falling back into old habits? So most of the time, as you're learning something new, and this is why just knowledge alone, it's nice, but just knowledge alone doesn't change anything. Because those old patterns we have, whatever it is, if it's over talking when I get nervous, if it's getting super quiet when I get nervous, if it's helping out when I think a man's pulling away, the reason we have those is that those do work. I mean, they do, there's a benefit there. And they either reassure someone or they make us feel like we're doing something. It's a way to connect with someone, and it tends to cover over the fear of loss. How do we stop doing that? Part of it is recognizing what we're doing. I mean, some of that's what I do with clients, is sort of walk them through it. And so they can have the experience, and their head knowledge matches their experience. Because I've had folks, when they've read especially the Woman in a Door, and we're talking as a client, they'll say to me, oh, I read this, but I never quite got what it meant for me until you just explained it to me, till you put it into my situation. And I'm always happy to do that, because as you practice these things, what my hope is, and what I've seen, is that you start to get some experiences where your brain says, oh, this is different. I really don't have to, whatever it is. If I'm quiet, more than I'm used to, if I don't, argue with the man. This is what Bob's talking about, not, oh my gosh, I just have to sit and take it. And the other thing is once you stop practicing those habits, it's not that you have to constantly keep practicing. It's that if I like the idea of experimenting and curiosity, but then we're just going to practice this habit into you. So if I'm more curious with it, have fun with it, generally as you see the results, there's a part of you that's going to go, I like this better. So it does have to be maintained the same way everything else does. So our appearance has to be maintained, our weight has to be maintained, but that doesn't necessarily have to be a big chore. So if you're falling back, usually what I'm wondering is what problem are you avoiding? If we're falling back in old habits, there's usually a conversation, a issue, a person, there's something we're avoiding. And how can we face that? Right, good luck with that. Jean says, I think I accidentally pushed him away. Can you tell me if I fell into masculine energy, or is he just not the right one? Because in my heart, I feel that you can't really make a mistake with the right guy or the right timing in a relationship. So let me hesitate right there. Actually, you can. I'll do more of that later. What's weird is I felt like I've been learning so much about feminine energy this year and putting everything to practice. And one slip of the tongue and boom, I forgot the way I should be around this guy. I asked this guy out again, or does he just want me to meet up on Friday night tailgates? As soon as I blurted it out, I realized I should not have asked him for this question. Okay, so in fairness to you, when we talk about masculine and feminine energy, when I talk about putting your heart first, this is not something you have to get perfectly right all the time. Okay, one slip of the tongue would be bad. If you said, you open your mouth again, I'm going to kick your butt. Okay, assuming he didn't laugh, that would be a bad slip of the tongue because that's really aggressive. Slips of the tongue rarely ruin relationships. Slips of the tongue and oops and things like that, that's just what happens when folks are dating, get to know each other, and get married. That's just part of the process. If we're talking about something where we cross a line, really aggressive, threatening, cheat on our partner, things like that, okay, those might be a single thing, but they're far more severe and intense. So I don't know that, if this is what drives him away, I'm more worried about him. There's more to this. He seemed embarrassed and immediately can tell that the energy changed towards me. History here. He had not asked me out on a date since the beginning of August, but was clearly acting interesting. It started to move towards me more on the weeks leading up to the question, but a very snail-like pace. And now it's like he's pulled away again. Okay, so my first hesitation is, if he's taking this long to ask you out, I'm not sure what his hesitation is. And I would say to you, gosh, you shouldn't have said that, but I don't really know that that's really being in masculine energy. When I talk with Sammy Wonder and she's all about living and breathing this, I don't want to speak for her, except for I've got a pretty idea she'd laugh, in the sense of not laugh at you, but just that's not the things we're talking about. When we're talking about, don't stay in your masculine energy, we're talking about not being competitive. We're talking about not taking over, not leading, not doing that stuff. And what I hear that you're doing is you've been waiting and patient, and then you blurted something. I don't know this guy. So for the guy, if you're watching, don't know him, just going by this, that seems a little fragile. He may not be a fragile person, but that seems a little fragile. He immediately replied back suggesting we get together that weekend and said he'd call the next day to confirm. We both agreed, and during that week was very hectic in our schedules to meet up. When he did call the next day, he said he was sick and said he'd like to figure out a time to go out sometime, but now no word. I feel like I pushed him away and he's not returning. I would love to put all this on Eugene, but I just can't. See, because Mary, if it's all you, if it's, I tell clients this, if it's all your problem, that's easier for us. We can fix it. If you're the main cause of this, that's an easy fix. The problem is when you're not all the cause. You're not the main, because with this, I don't know that pushed him away. I understand that you said that. We've been talking via text, mostly running each other at my son's school when he is the football coach, and we've had 3 dates in between since February. He had told me on the phone a few weeks ago that I would need a lot of patience with the guy, and boy, you're right. Just feel like it's over and really sad. Yes, I do remember this now. So not going into what we talked about, but remember with him, it is a lot of patience involved, but there's such a guardedness with him that, so assuming this is your guy, because this is your guy, we're in this for the long haul, right? Is you're going to have these things. It can't be where you can never say, quote, the wrong thing. That is a bottomless pit. As far as there was no winning for you with that. In other words, if it has to be where you can never say the wrongest thing, you're going to lose. It's already set up to lose, because the wrong thing is subjective. It's not just what you say. It's the mood he's in. It's the circumstances. It's the weather. It's does he have a headache or not have a headache? Is his back sore? It's all kind of variables that have nothing to do with you. So that's not to fuss at you. That's be a reminder. I'm not saying he's fragile. I'm not saying he's fragile as a person. What you're talking about is him being so cautious and so guarded that, because if you never hear from him again after this, I know you don't want to hear this. I'm actually glad for you. Not just because that's the right thing to say. I'm glad for you, because if that's what he does prior to dating, I worry about what he would do as a husband. Because as a husband, the joys are higher, but the pressures are higher. You're going to be in really bad moods when you get married at times, or you're going to have real disagreements at times. Not like this. So if this is what scares someone away, see, this is what scares someone away. Once we get married, that sensitivity doesn't go away. That just because the man commits doesn't mean all of a sudden, wow, he knows me better, he'll get me more. No, the core, that trait, just like yours, it's still going to be there. So it's not that I want to screen every man, like I'm running through me or running through your father or some big male adult to get approval. But I like the idea of dating, to fall in love versus dating for fun. I mean, if someone's in high school, date for fun. Okay. Just date for fun. And maybe you are in love, but I know between 18 and 23, people change a lot. Once you get older, folks don't change as much. It's not their core stuff. So I would wait instead of me telling you to move on. But I want you to keep in mind that if he never returns your call, pay attention to that. I'll be happy to brainstorm with you again because I get a lot of folks, their situations are really desperate and dire. And usually what they say to me is, I understand everyone says I should break up and move on. I just want another chance. And as long as they know, okay, this is a tough situation, yeah, because then my goal is, how do I get him close? I can't make the guy commit because it's his thing, but how do I give him a chance? So good luck with that, Gene. If I can help, let me know. So thanks for joining us again. If you like this, be sure to click the like button. Join us at relationshipheadquarters.com. And I'm looking forward to talking to you next time. Bye.